everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. I have T. You may know her as T this summer, and I'm very excited to have her here today. So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much, Stasi, for having me. It's
Oh,
really wonderful.
oh my gosh. No, thank you so much. I gotta say thank you so much for always sharing like everything I do. I just want to start off with
I
that.
always try. I always try. I think it's very important in our Sims community to share each other's work. And you are pretty much one of the first people that I came across. And I love your content. So I'm like, I have to share this. And then when I sat one day, I was like, Rose Chronicles probably belongs to her. And then at some point I made the connection. I'm like, oh, okay. It took me a minute.
As I'm wearing like my Rose Chronicle shirt. There we
As
go.
you wear your Rose
As I
Chronicles
wear my
shirt.
Rose Chronicle shirt. But no, it's awesome. I love how you're always, sharing everybody's content. And I've actually found simmers from like from other simmers you share,
Yeah,
which is, awesome. But anyways, T, let's get it started. Why don't you tell us a little bit
absolutely.
about yourself and your Sims history?
Okay, so about myself, I am in my early 20s. I live in South Africa, and I'm not really doing too much at this point other than just working on my hobbies. Some are like photography and editing, some are writing, Sims obviously being one of them. So I'm always like kind of all over with my hobbies, and Sims has always been a hobby for me. I categorize it completely separately from video games as a whole because I'm just that into it. So yeah, and then obviously I'm looking for work. So you would have seen like on my Sim stories that I've been going for interviews and such.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what I'm doing because I moved from the farm to the city. So it's good to be back in the city, especially with having faster internet. So kind of works out quite well. I've started playing Sims, you would be surprised, at the age of 5. So it came out on my birthday, literally the day of my birth. And then 5 years later, I'm like, so my mom has Sims, I'm going to try it. And that's where it started. And I played Sims on and off between 5 and 10 years of age. And then from 10 pretty much on consistently up until now. So long time Sim lover.
I love it. That's crazy. How old are you?
I'm 22 now.
You're 20. You're still a baby. I
I'm
remember
still a
when
baby.
you're still. I will be 29 this year. So like,
Okay.
yeah,
You know,
I'm at the
you,
end of my
you,
20s.
you
But
could have fooled me, honestly.
fooled you because I look so youthful with the baggies under my eyes.
The bag started under my eyes like at 12. I'm like, oh, I look so old. And the worst thing of it is, everybody thought I was like so much older than I actually am. So when I tell people I'm 22, they're like, are you sure? Are you sure you're 22? Because I
Oh yeah,
look older.
if you would have told me you were 30, I would have believed you. No offense. There's
That's my
nothing wrong
point.
with that. I either get I'm 16 years old or I'm 45. Like there's no like in
No,
between.
in
Like
between.
like sometimes I get double ID to my lottery tickets.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
It's like,
wow,
wow.
wow.
It's like such a compliment
I
in
I
in a way.
I agree. Hey, as my mom always says, you're never gonna look 50 when you're 50.
Never.
And I'm like, yes, that's the
Exactly.
confidence I need. But that's crazy. So I can't.
Right?
So did you obviously have you played all renditions of The Sims or just like
Yeah.
Sims 1? Okay. What's your
Yeah.
favorite version?
Uh, I must say, and it's going to be for very obvious reasons, Sims 3, and
Okay.
that's its customizability on literally everything. And, they gave so much content with each type of game pack or expansion or such. And that's something I actually played Sims 3 up until 2018. And I said to my partner, I refuse to play Sims 4 because it looks so limited and you have to pay for literally everything.
Hmm.
So no, I'm not going to even play Sims 4. And I stuck with Sims 3 for so long
Hmm.
just because of that customizability and the freedom in gameplay, which you don't really too much have of in The Sims 4 particularly.
No, you don't. And it's hard because like Sims 3 is the one I've least played because when it came
Oh
out, I
yeah.
was in college. And I just
Oh,
didn't I
okay,
didn't
right.
have I didn't have time to play it,
To
like,
get into it.
to get into it. And then I got
Yeah.
back into The Sims, when I watched, Kelsey and Peach K's 100 Baby
Oh yeah.
Challenge. And then I was
Oh
like,
right. Yeah.
right, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, this is so much fun, this is so cute, like, I'm going to go get it," 'cause I bought it, it was like $5 on sale at Origins. And
Yeah.
I was like, "This is fun," and then I didn't really super get back into it, till the
Mhm.
pandemic, just
Oh
'cause
right. Yeah.
I didn't really have much to do.
Time.
I was sent
Yeah.
home, for the first time in my professional career that I didn't actually have to go find another job. I was getting paid to sit and do nothing, so I was like,
Yeah.
Let's build and let's do all this stuff." And then I joined Simstagram January, like, 2021, and I was
Oh
just like,
wow.
yeah, and I was like, "This is very interesting to say
Interesting.
the least." I
Yeah.
gotta say this because I like to ask people this, like, the Sims community on Simstagram is incredible. You see tons of amazing
Oh yeah.
builders, tons of cast,
Absolutely.
but nothing prepares you for the Sims
No.
porn. Nothing. No,
Nothing
nothing.
whatsoever. I literally wasn't prepared for it because I started eyeing out this Instagram scene in 2020 because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then last year I joined it, and then you get exposed so much to it, you cannot avoid it. It's completely unavoidable. And even on like Sims communities on Facebook, because they share from the Sims Instagram, you get so much exposure on it. And I don't think, as you say, anybody can fully be prepared for what comes, because CC content, they just take it to, to a whole new level.
Oh
And
my
it's
god.
so realistic.
Oh, yes. No, it's very realistic. The story I love to
So,
tell when it comes to this is my first day. I, as every millennial slash Gen Z always says, that I did something, is usually what we say
yeah.
when we do something, somewhat big. That could be like, I went to the
Yeah.
store, I bought a desk, I did something.
Yeah.
I was like, I joined Instagram. So I told my partner, and
Yeah.
he's like, can I look? And I'm like, for sure. Cause I work in marketing. I primarily work in social media marketing.
Oh,
So
wow. That's
I,
awesome.
yeah, so I spent a lot of time on social media
Yeah.
anyways. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is thing. So he's like, the third photo, he stops it and he's like, are you going to do this? And I'm like, well, what is it? It was two naked ladies fighting with double-ended dildos.
That is, that's like, it's so premature exposure to it. Like, you're not even properly into it, and it's like the third thing you see.
Like, no,
It's
I'm not gonna
like,
do
no,
that.
no. Mine wasn't that bad. I remember my first one because it was just that unsuspecting. So it was like a slide of like multiple screenshots,
Mhm.
and it started out in the kitchen. And the next moment they were in the bedroom, and everything was on display. I'm like, what? Did I miss something? It's like it jumped so quickly. I can't even remember who it was. I didn't follow them at the time because I was like, okay, this is not the content I'm going for. And now I'm like, it's there. You just gotta accept it. You cannot avoid it at all. You cannot.
I really do appreciate the NFSW.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate those. Everybody who
yeah,
does Sims nudity,
always.
who's listening to this, you do those, you're a godsend. When you don't, because
Yeah,
like usually at work, I'll be sitting because like I take good long breaks because I mean, there's not
yeah,
much 8 hours of social media a day makes you want to, burn your
yeah.
eyeballs. So I'll sit and I'll look, and my boss is like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "You're not on the Wi-Fi, right?" I'm like, "Nope."
No,
Nope.
like this is not, it is not on the
No.
Wi-Fi.
No, but
So,
but anyways, the Sims community on Instagram it's awesome. Like
um,
I love it.
right?
Are you on Twitter at all?
No,
No.
I've abandoned Twitter completely from a political sense, Sims, everything in between. It's
Mhm.
just become rubbish these days. So
Yeah.
there's no point
Oh my
of being on
God.
Twitter anymore.
I totally agree. I just have Twitter just in case I ever blow up one day, like
Oh yeah,
I might need it. I don't want to
you
buy it
you're
off
definitely
somebody.
gonna need it.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
And I was like, I have it, like I'll post like simmer spotlights and stuff on there, but I don't really do too much. But the one day I was like super on there, I don't even remember what it was, but it got nasty like really
Oh
quick. So
wow.
anybody I tell people, I'm like, just stay away from Sims Twitter. Like it's
Yeah.
literally like a dumpster
Oh,
fire.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just everybody one-upping everyone in some way, or somebody thinks they know better because of this or because of that. And also the kind of conversations that go around EA, specifically with Sims players, it gets heated so badly.
Oh God, yeah.
It's heated.
I didn't know how bad it was until I saw that like gurus were getting attacked on
Oh
Twitter.
yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
like, guys, like it's not the guru's fault. Like
Exactly.
what's going on? Like I just think everybody, just needs to take
Yeah.
a chill pill. It just needs to calm down.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit. But anyways, let's get back to positive topics, such
Yeah.
as not social media, because I work in social media. I would very much like to see that. Like I wish we had a switch that we could turn off
Yeah.
social media for like a day, and then
Just
like
like it's like short period.
right, and then like you go outside, you do something, read a
Oh yeah.
book, just something like that, and then switch it back on, just because like
Yeah.
it can get like consume you. But anyways, speaking
It
of
can.
consuming you, The Sims 100% can consume you as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Always.
oh my gosh,
Always.
always. I've seen your Instagram page, and you do both. Looks like builds and cast. Which one's your favorite build or cast?
Well, okay, it became build now. I used to be the kind of CAS player that would stay in CAS for like 12 hours. Then I go into build mode, I'm like, I'll build a different date. Don't worry about it. But I've become quite creative with my builds. I'm starting to pick up on different ideas and techniques, because I wasn't somebody that would use alts to try and turn a specific object or something. I
Mhm.
didn't use move objects. I was just very basic with it. Like I could build like huge houses and such, but I didn't get creative with the placement of my decor. And since becoming a little creative with it, I was like, yeah, I'm leaning more towards builder than CC, or not CC, Kaz. So it's now definitely leaning a little more towards build in that sense.
Oh, see, we need to divulge to this, just because most
Yeah.
builders switch to cast because
Oh
builds
wow.
take forever and
They do.
ever and ever,
They
and
do.
cast doesn't feel like it takes a lifetime, because I feel
To
like you
me,
you can make someone
it's different.
super. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, no. I mean, it's strange how they would switch, because you can sit for hours in CAS, even if you don't use CC or any other forms of content to change the game in any way. Even if it's just vanilla, you can spend hours in there, because you'll finish an outfit and you'll be like, now I'm going to change the sim style. Then you would go back and you have to change like multiple outfits or change their face. And that's the whole time consuming part, because halfway through, I'd be like, I want a different style. And then I have to backtrack just because of one outfit style. So that's where it became the 12-hour thing for me, where it's just like too long. And I would just go over to builds now.
Aw, that's fascinating. Like I love like how depth, like especially like you can get in
Yeah.
cast. Now I gotta ask this: when you're in cast, do you give everybody, like, you can have like every day and you have 5 outfits, and then
Yeah.
like do you do that for every single one? Like everyone has 5 outfits for like formal,
Well,
beachwear.
I typically stick to 3 outfits because I get bored so quickly.
Okay.
And if the Sims change outfits, they tend to kind of just stick to 1 or 2, and you have to manually change them each time. So I used to have like 5 outfits each. That's why I would sometimes go to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Now it's just kind of like 1 or 2 outfits with certain wears, like sleepwear, for example, or everyday wear. And every other outfit would be like, I would just go have my son wake up in the morning, take a shower, and then first thing they would do when they get out of the shower is go to the mirror to plan outfits or something, just to change it a bit, because what I've realized is they just stick to one outfit, even if they have like 5 other outfits. So it's pointless to go to that extent if they're just going to keep rotating on one outfit. And the other thing is, you would intend for them to wear everyday wear, and it would show if you have like the seasons back, it's not that cold, but they would just go over to their cold outfit anyway. And it's like it's not even that cold. You can wear it every day. So that's become frustrating to the point where I've decided I'm not even going to create like anything more than an outfit or two alternative for certain wears.
Okay. No, that's hey, again, creative. What I do, because I went from building, like I builder my entire Sims history. Love to build. I've just I've switched to cast because it's quicker. But I only what I literally like, I don't give like hardcore outfits to like I will have their main look and then kind of just do like one formal, one active, one beachwear, one
sleepwear,
one sleepwear,
party.
one hot wear, and one cold. That's as far as I would get, but like I love how Cassie it can literally change your entire sim, like literally per outfit, per mood. Do you have all the packs?
Yeah, I have all the packs except the wedding pack because I've only been seeing problematic bug content on, or it's going wrong this way and it has this kind of bug and that kind of thing. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to wait until I get that pack.
Yeah, wait, I bought it because I had a gift card. So I was just like,
oh, right.
I was like, yeah, perfect. I'm just gonna buy this, use it up. And like I've only ever built with some of the stuff and like I haven't had a problem. But everyone who I was talking to yesterday was like, yeah, so like if you like your Sims will sit there forever and like they won't leave and stuff like
annoying.
And you can't cut the cake, you can't walk down the aisles correctly.
It's kind of like defeats the purpose of the pack.
And then also it not only does that affect like the pack with like weddings, it's all weddings if you have it. So anybody trying to get married right now, it just completely breaks your game. So that's why I like stay away from that. I really do hope that EA will fix it. I'm kind of really annoyed that EA has not stepped out and has acknowledged their mistakes. They're really radio silent about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so disgraceful because it's happened with the last few packs and kits as well, like the dust kits. That, for example, it was just the absolute worst. I completely disabled it in settings. I was like, you know what, there's no point, so I'm not even going to enable it. And I don't think until this day I've enabled it once again. I just kind of keep the vacuum there because it gives that sense of realism, but I haven't turned it back on. And EA took quite a bit to actually get out with the kids as well and say, sorry, we did make a mistake, we're going to fix it. And they actually took a while to actually fix it. It took them, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before it actually became usable. But even still then, it wasn't perfect whatsoever.
Right. And then because I think the problem is like they've proven that they can do great work. Like cottage living was perfect.
There's that, for example. Absolutely. It was useful from the get-go. Everything was working. Even the scripts, just the plain scripts were working as well. Dialogue between the characters and such. It wasn't problematic, but I think they are just rushing because they're getting pressure from Sims 5. And then they're getting pressure from packs being problematic. And they're getting, backlash on how EA is actually just treating their players and how little regard they have to certain problems, especially with the LGBTQ functions in CAS, for example. That's something that they have been getting backlash with constantly. And they're just trying to throw packs and everything out to kind of just mask it and keep it at bay for a while before they actually go on and say, okay, we have this now. And it honestly doesn't take that long for them to adjust to these certain things. So if they could have just, input their energy differently in fixing packs and redoing some packs, because there are some packs up there that seriously need some redoing. It's just pathetic how it came out a few years ago. And the audience for Sims grew, especially during the pandemic. And I feel like they can rehash on certain things.
I
and
agree.
just kind of review, instead of just throwing out different packs. And they can just tweak a little bit on cares, like I said, with the LGBTQ content that they have needed to change over the years, especially now, it's 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fixing still bugs in old packs that we've had for years that still hasn't been fixed. There's so many problematic things that still haven't been fixed. With Dine Out, for example, that's one
Mm-hmm.
that they haven't really properly fixed, and it's just kind of a useless pack at this point.
Well, I agree. Like, take a look at it. So, like, Dine Out was the first. That one of the no, Get to Work was the first
Yeah,
expansion pack to come out. That feels like more like a game pack to
yeah.
today's standards. What pack would you like to see refreshed?
I would say definitely Get to Work, or even Seasons.
Yeah.
Seasons was a great game pack. Absolutely, they gave a lot of it. I feel like they can just put that little extra effort in and just redo it again, especially when it comes to your weather options
Okay.
and your calendar options. Calendar options, they do have like quite a few things where you can cancel and change traditions and such. I just feel like things with premiere nights,
Yep.
some people don't even, I don't use it. I sure as hell don't send my Sims off to premiere nights and stuff. I feel like they should be able to add that little customizability, maybe even just change the calendar's aesthetic a little bit. That would
Okay.
also be something that would, it's so small, it's something doable, because if they can have skins for the Sims phones, surely they can have at least the calendar. It's not that big of a thing.
Oh,
So I would
I'm sure.
say Get to Work and Seasons can use a little bit of work again.
Okay, I agree. I think Get to Work and Dine Out need to definitely be
Yeah.
done. What do you think the next expansion pack is going to be? Because there's going to be one coming out either in Q2 or Q3.
Mm, that it's kind of difficult because there's so much going on at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a culture
Okay.
related pack with maybe like some sense of religion, like they did with Seasons, obviously, and such. I think it's definitely going to be another culture pack. If you look at any other fields like Disney, for example, they've been really incorporating culture, and it's leaking into every other field, especially gaming and
Mhm.
especially Sims. That's supposed to be a simulation of life. So they're going to have to include more cultures. And I saw on a Facebook group on Sims communities where they asked, like, what kind of packs would you really want to see in Sims? And somebody commented an African game pack.
Yeah.
And being South African, you get exposed to different African cultures. And that's something they haven't even included in any Sims whatsoever. But they do have a lot of inclusion with other cultures so far, which is great. But they need to branch out to
Mhm.
different countries as well. Africa being one of them, because a lot of players, surprisingly, are South African or African in
Mhm.
general. And they would like to see their culture and cuisine and whatever incorporated into it.
I totally agree. I had a roundtable yesterday for builders, and we all kind of said the same thing. Like, we want to start seeing worlds like of
Mm,
different cultures that's not
absolutely.
primarily Western or
Yeah.
UK, right? That
Yeah.
you're right. They're like, I'd love to see an India world. I would love to
Yeah,
see an African
absolutely.
world. I'd love to see a more look of like an Asian world. Hell, I'd like
Yeah.
to see an Australia world, New Zealand
Yeah.
world, just literally something, right? Like, the
Yeah.
problem I have a little bit with EA, and I will say this, and I have gotten backlash from it, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm very happy
Yeah.
to see that they are including more kits of like
Yeah.
different ethnicities. I'm happy to see that. I wish they would push it
Absolutely.
further though. I would like to
Yeah.
see worlds for these.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Mumbai world. I'd love to see a
Yeah.
South Korean world. I just feel like EA
Absolutely.
is playing it really safe, and they're just trying to say, look,
Mm.
we include everybody. We had a Mumbai fashion pack, but like, it was just, again, safe, but it didn't push the boundaries. Because like
Yeah.
in the Sims, like, we want to be able to
Mm.
make ourselves and see
Absolutely.
the world. What I'm concerned of, with EA decides to do this, which I hope they do, the other thing I'm concerned they might do a stereotypical world. I would want
They,
them to have some form of representation in the room when the
yeah,
decisions are made,
absolutely.
to make sure that like
Um,
all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed.
Yeah. I feel like even what they've done up until this point, inclusion wise on culture and race and everything, I feel like even now it's still very stereotypical. If you look at how they incorporated Muslim, for example, Muslim culture and everything, it's they included a lot of good things, but I feel like, as you say, they're playing it very safe, and I feel like it borders almost falls into stereotype. And here in South Africa, you are exposed to a lot of Indian culture, and I can still kind of like judge just based off. I mean, I grew up in Durban for the first 6 years of my life, and that is the second city to India, the biggest Indian community. And I experienced so much of the Indian culture in that, but you can see in Sims they are playing it so safe, and it's actually so sad. I can understand, like, you can step on anybody's toes no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So I get where EA is coming from with it. I just feel like you said, they need representation to say, hey, but this is a bit too stereotypical, or you can push a bit with that or that. If you go to, to get to work, for example, they didn't really incorporate any other varieties of cultures and such into any work opportunities. It's very generic, it's very Western, and there's nothing else to experience really. And I feel like, as you said, they need that representation. They need to push it instead of just constantly playing it safe.
Yeah. See, what I've actually really pushed for is to show Sims with disabilities. I think that's something that needs to be shown. Now, I understand that has been brought to my attention that people would use it as a joke. I mean, that's going to happen no matter where you do. There's always going to be those select few that ruin it for everybody else. But if you are handicapped and you want to make a sim, there's no form of it in the Sims 4. Like, I think there might be like a cane, but that was in Generations and like Sims 3. I there's nothing wrong with being in a wheelchair. There's nothing wrong missing a hand. There's nothing wrong. It's just you want to make yourself, and you're like, well, how come what my disability is not there? Why does that make me more different? Like, I do hope that the next expansion pack would be Generations with the ability to have like wheelchairs and canes and missing limbs, and it not to be a joke but to be taken seriously. What I would be concerned of is how EA can't even code people to sit down at a wedding. Could you just imagine the coding for someone in a wheelchair? They'd just be like floating there, and the wheelchair would be like running around.
Yeah, and they'd be whacking out completely, bugging out.
Absolutely.
Completely.
Like, I don't know if you played today, but the patch that just came through with the laundry list.
No, I haven't played.
Oh, I played a little this morning doing Rose Chronicles stuff. Oh, I want to throw my laptop out the window. They just stood there. The time would stop and start, stop and start, and stop and start, and then it would catch up, and then they would just do all their tasks, and then they would freeze again. We're just like, whoa.
That's terrible. It's so frustrating.
Any day there's a new patch day, I make sure to have a new bottle of wine just waiting for me, because I know at the end of it I'm gonna need it.
Absolutely have to.
Absolutely. But I gotta ask you this, because you actually like really like Cass, and what is the best pack or kit for Cass?
That's actually quite a tricky one. Sometimes I don't necessarily look at which pack comes with what when it adds to Cass. But I must say, Cottage Living really added a different variety for me. They had overalls, for example, from other packs, but it was just so stiff looking. There was just no realism to it. But I feel like they really focused on that detail when it came to Cottage Living. And they also incorporated a different aesthetic with Cottage Living, not just like a farmer's aesthetic, but also just more, I feel like some of the tops, for example, like a crop top with the long sleeves and buttons, I feel like that has like a bohemian-esque kind of look to it. So you can play more around with it and maybe get to work even added something to it. But I'd say, usually I don't look, if I have to be honest. Sometimes I just kind of slips. But I really noticed such a big difference when I got cottage living to see that there's really different items that I absolutely love and can be incorporated in so many different styles. It's not just the farmer style, not just the bohemian style.
I would say the hair that came with cottage
Yeah,
living was so nice. Like,
yeah.
some of it looks
It
like
was,
CC, which is even nicer.
yeah.
'Cause it's
I don't use CC personally. I've always refrained from it because not only is it problematic most of the time and I get frustrated, it's just I like the game as
Mhm.
it is. Like any game that I get as it is, I play it. But with cottage living, the kind of hair that they gave looked so much more realistic. So much different styles were brought in, especially when it came to finally having like a French kind of style, and curtain bangs and everything. It's just so different, and that really stood out to me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely new. That wasn't there before, and I feel like every pack should have that, but they really did that with cottage living.
I totally agree. What do you think makes a good cast kit?
I feel like being able to include a lot of different body types specifically, because there are some clothing items that how they designed it didn't really work for all of my Sims body types. It kind of only fits one particular range. So I feel like clothing styles that can be included more into different body types, and then also having inclusivity with all of the age ranges, not just young adult, not just child stages. So I feel like those two particular things, and then variety in color. You can't have just one item and just it being three colors. It's not going to work. Nobody's going to like just one of those three colors. And you can't always, which is what we have been doing a lot with Sims 4, compromise. Always
Mhm.
been doing with colors and styles is compromising and kind of settling for it. So I think those particular three things would make up a good CAS kind of kit.
I totally agree with you. I hope one day that we'll have proper body types instead of it just being like
Yeah,
instead of you being like stick thin to like
yeah,
actually looking like a normal human, but like how the
yeah.
weight goes, like everybody
It's
looks
so
like
uneven.
yeah, it always goes to the stomach, but
Yeah,
not the arms or the legs.
yeah. No,
And
it's so weird.
I agree. And then yeah, some of the clothes are just like, oh, that's a little broken because it doesn't
Yeah,
fit it. Yeah,
it doesn't.
it
I
doesn't.
mean, I used to be overweight and I'm a normal weight now. And how I see how the weight distributes when you kind of go on the slider to add a little bit of weight. As you say, just it's everything's mostly in the stomach area and somewhat in the arms, but it's disproportionate completely when it comes to adding, as much weight as you can. And even if you go down with a slider, going to more of a skinnier frame, even with that, it's not even looking. And a lot of the times I've noticed like it's very flat. It doesn't really have many definition, even if you go skinnier, for example. I feel like they could really work on that to help distribute the weight, whether it's more or lesser, just to kind of keep it a little more realistic looking.
I totally agree. Now let's switch gears because I know you're more builder now. What
Yeah.
is your favorite thing to build?
I like going with kind of a French cottage style builds, but I sometimes alternate a bit trying to go over to modern style, because if I start a build and I use one modern kind of decor looking item, the whole build's just going modern. I cannot just stick with it being the only thing that's modern looking. So I try to stick with French cottage styles because you can add so much clutter, and no matter what you add, how little, how much, it still looks appropriate to the decor. And then the other kind of builds that I like is completely wacky, all over the show builds. And a build that I wanted to do, but I've been struggling so much, is a milk carton build. So it's two stories with a roof funny shaped, and then the bottom story would be white, then the top would be blue, and the roof would be white. but Sims is kind of limited on content to kind of work through the decor. So I'm still figuring out the decor, but I like doing such weird, out of the blue builds that you wouldn't expect. Like scrolling on Instagram, you're like, what? Did I just see right?
But that's what I think what makes a good build stand out from everything else. Because if you can literally sit and look at like same house, same house, same house, same house, same house. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like Artie's stuff, because like you'll literally sit and be like,
yeah,
just make a robot boxes and like all that stuff. It's so creative. Like I think that sometimes with Sims builders, like I will say this as myself, like we get stuck and we just keep building the same room over and over and over and
that's
over
how
again,
I feel.
right? And then like and then you do something different and you're like, yeah, I like it, but then the new thing you do different, you do it over and over and over. You just
get stuck,
right? And like I don't care how long you've been playing The Sims, making a roof is still very hard.
That is one of the things I've only been kind of getting the hang of now. But when it comes to like diagonal builds, or you know, like the Victorian style where it's like kind of this bay window-esque kind of style, a roof, no matter what you do, it just doesn't want to. You can go over to the hexagon kind of roof. It just doesn't work. You cannot go with it. So it either has to stick over and you have to throw pillars in to make it look normal, but you just kind of have to deal with not having a proper roof. It's so frustrating. Nobody with any amount of experience in Sims can perfectly master a roof of any shape, of build, any kind of style. You cannot. It's either square or it's rectangle, and that's what kind of like what you're going for.
I totally agree. At this point, it's just boxes and roofs. That's how I literally look at it. Square boxes and roofs. And the more comfortable you get, more boxes.
Yeah.
More like now I like doing, okay, so this is gonna be hard. So like usually like every roof I'd ever do would go this way. Now I have it going this way, and then I have one usually coming out this way to try to create some dimension to it. But even still that, like I just did a Cinderella Chateau for Luna Wendy, because I do all her Disney builds for her Let's Play. So I sat there and I looked at Cinderella's Chateau and I'm like, this is so complicated. I had like 6 different types of roofs on there. I'm like, nobody look at the roofs, please. Because I made like just don't look from here down, model, here up, train wreck.
It's so hard. Like you just can't.
I
feel like if you could use Alt and click with the roofs, that would be so amazing. It would be so amazing. It would work so well.
It would be so amazing. Now I know you said a perfect cast kit. What do you think a good build kit would be?
That's an interesting one. I'd say where their counters would match the cupboards would be a wonderful start, because the counters and the cupboards, they just don't match quite well. Bottom, top, you name it. There's just, I mean, if you look at the one counter, the modern counter, where it's just those 2 big handles over, and you go to its cupboards on top, the handles don't match. So a good start would be having matching cupboards and handles for any of your kitchen stuff, or even bedroom. That would be nice, especially on nightstands. And then having a variety in kind of like decor, in the sense of a lot of the packs focus on 1 or 2 specific decor items like plants or paintings. Having a bit of everything in everything, even if it's just like 1 mirror and 2 paintings and 6 kind of plants. There's just a variety still. If you're focusing on using one kind of style, and there's just only 1 pack with that style, but the pack style is only a mirror and only a plant, how are you going to build style around it? And then you have to end up compromising again, which is, I don't think is completely acceptable when it comes to Sims specifically anymore.
No.
So variety in style, matching cupboards, handles and such. And then also including new kind of items. You can only have that much of signboards in your house. You can only have that much kind of carpets in your house, because they are really laying into the abstract kind of styled carpet,
Yep.
or it's bohemian, or it's artistic, but there's no in between. So having different shape carpets, size carpets. I know you can like change the size, especially like when you use your brackets on your keyboard.
Yeah.
But I feel like the default size shouldn't just be you have this tiny thing or this huge carpet overflowing over a room, which has happened so much.
Oh, yeah.
Which is frustrating. So I think those kind of aspects, if they just did that, I think it would be lovely. And stop slapping patterns on absolutely everything. Not a lot of people want these weird circle patterns or star patterns. We don't want that. Half of us are so minimalistic, and it kind of just ruins the style sometimes, because you have this French style room or this Victorian style room, and then they come and they have like star bedding, and you're like, no, that doesn't work so well. Pretty much they didn't have that back then. So I think those 4 things, if they just had that in mind, I think they would be able to come up with a decent pack.
I agree. I would love to see a clutter pack.
Yeah.
Just clutter.
Oh, absolutely. Just
instead
clutter.
of it just being like debugged, like literally just going in there. Like I think that was a problem I had with the Bloom kit. Like it really was just a bunch of like debug items that we paid $8 for.
Pretty much.
Yes. But anyways, sorry, go ahead.
Not a lot of people use debug items. I've only started using it like about the past year. I just never bothered. So there are a lot of people out there who are missing out because they just don't either know of debug, just don't use debug.
Yeah, and especially if you're a console player, I know you do have debug. I have gotten that confirmed because I was like, my brain, I'm like, do you have debug if you're a console? They're like, yeah, Stas. I'm like, okay. Didn't know.
Yeah, I just need to check.
It was almost a year ago when I found out what debugged was, and I was like, oh my God. Now I use it in almost everything I do. When it comes
because
to
there's so much content.
It does, and it looks like the plant, like the outdoor plants and stuff actually look better.
Yeah.
Than the plants that you actually get. But speaking of better,
absolutely.
I want to hear about what you do on Simstagram and how you're always shouting out everybody on Fridays.
So during the week, I would sit as I scroll through and I would try to kind of memorize certain names, or I would just want to reply to a story or something, or just like their content, just to kind of keep it at the back of my mind. I always try and like everybody's content as I scroll. But you have some of the Sims Instagrammers that are just starting, so they have 2 or 3 posts, and you want to promote them, but some of them close down within the week. So it's kind of a bit of a gamble. But people that are going on constantly and growing, you're seeing growth. I've seen so many posts just this past 2 weeks when I'm on and off on Instagram, where, this one has 2K followers, this one has 400 followers. So you can see there's active growth. So I keep mental notes of that. And when there are smaller simmers that only have like 2-3 posts that follow me, I try and keep track of their posts. I still try and promote those that I can see are putting a lot of effort into their posts, because it's probably going to be long term then. If they do effort from the start with their designs and certain kind of builds, you pretty much know where it's going, because it's a consistent thing that you can see in the Sims community. You judge it off what you've seen before. Some of them truly have surprised me in such a good way, and they became some of the biggest simmers, even bigger than I, and they started off me. And I'm so proud of them, but I keep mental note. That's one thing I do. And when it comes to Fridays, I would grab my partner's phone, or I'd open Instagram on my laptop, and I'd go through all the names that I can remember, and that especially ones that have interacted with me, not just on like just talking basis, but even with my posts, even if they just leave a like, it just shows that they also support other Sims creators as well, which is so important to me. If I see a Simmer, which I've seen a lot, and I don't judge them for it, but it's something that kind of makes me question why they would have like 15 followers, and then they'd follow people, and as soon as those people follow them back, they'd immediately unfollow which is kind of like, why do you do that? You have to have a reason why you do that. So when I see the simmers that I follow share other simmers posts, and they, kind of pay it forward with shouting out other simmers and just bringing some light to the smaller simmers, that makes me want to promote them even more, because that's why our community is where it is today, is constantly sharing, constantly promoting other simmers, and not expecting anything back for it, but just knowing that they are active in the community, and they're not in it just for themselves. They're in it because it's a community thing, and it's a passion that they have, or it's something that they enjoy and like sharing, So that is where that comes in for me.
No, I love that. And because like really early on you started sharing my stuff and I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I usually do a follow Friday. I didn't do one this past Friday because it was a busy day at work, because I'm back to work every day. It's the first time in 2 years that I actually have to go in and wear a bra and go to work. I know.
Yeah.
It's
like it's a huge adjustment.
It's 100% a huge adjustment, but like usually, so like how like I do, like I'll usually do 10 on like a fall Friday. It's who I've talked to throughout the week and who has stood out. But like I love fall Fridays because then like people add me to them and I'll be like, who are these people? Because like I've been around at least a year now and I have a good handle. Even if I don't know your name per se, I know your photo. And that's how I'm like, oh, I know who this person is. I've seen them do this, or oh, I know that person because there are Sims cliques and they are Sims friends that you can be like, oh, like they're friends with this person because they always share this person's stuff. But I think that's the beauty of the Sims community, that no matter where we are in the world or what we're doing, we can still like and share each other's stuff because it's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's so different and it's so unique. But
it's such a free giving community and inclusive communities. It's, you can come in and you can be anything and you can be part of the community, and you get simmers like myself. I know there's an inconsistency in my posts, but sometimes things just pop up and I really can't help for it. But even with some of us simmers being inconsistent, you know that when we or even other simmers come back, they come back with content. It's not just one post and then just the full month. And even though they have that inconsistency, you still know who they are. You still recognize them, you still recognize their posts without seeing their username, and you still interact with other simmers. Even though you're not posting yourself, you still like, or you still share, you still post a story or something. And even not just inclusivity with who you are as a person, but even your frequency of your posts or the kind of posts that you have. I feel like it's become so much bigger than you have to have this enormous mansion built before you even post something. Now you can post literally anything, and that's amazing. That's why I started doing outfit posts, because you kind of have to be a little different, but it's also the kind of post that is accepted. It's not just, oh, it's not a big mansion built, so I'm not even going to acknowledge it, So it's amazing. I love the community.
I agree. I love the community. And you're right. You can literally post anything. I am a witness to that. I have no rhyme or reason to anything I post. I'm like, this just looks fun. I'll post it here today and just stuff like that. But anyways, T, I want to say it has been an absolute pleasure. Any cool, awesome projects that you've been working on that you want to share with everybody?
So I do have a project coming up. Where you kind of make Sims with their outfits and their hair and everything just in one particular color. So I started this project last year with the intention of posting it throughout December, but then I thought, I kind of want to work on it a little more. So I'm working on a project where I have 3 Sims, 3 totally different personalities, all different colors, and they live on one lot, but I create like duplex style houses connected. And the one would have like a kind of like a malicious kind of personality, and each is an extreme. Like the one is extremely kind of like malicious, kind of rude, evil. The other one is like super bubbly, super kind, and then you get like the neutral one in the middle. So I'm working on that because I really want to post it. And then odd builds like the mold carton build, if I can just get around to figuring out the decor. That's something I want to post. I want to post like a food series or something like that, but just like the weirdest builds, completely out of my comfort zone, completely out of the creative spectrum of where we have Sims builds. So that's coming soon at some point. And then obviously my Sims magazine. COVID hit at a very kind of weird time because I'm at the end of it, and I've reached out to you and some other Simmers to feature in my Sims magazine. So that's something I'm getting back to this week, and I really want to have it out by the end of the week. So yeah, that's my 3 projects that I'm focusing on at this point.
Well, T, you're a lady after my own heart. You're a very busy lady. If you ever need any help with the magazine, I mean, I can always give you marketing tips and like how to do it. That's the best I can
Thank you
do.
so much.
I have zero knowledge when it comes to a magazine. I went to school to be a graphic designer. I hate InDesign. I will run away from anything InDesign, and I know that's how magazines are made. But if you ever need any help with anything, like let
Thank
me
you.
know. You're an amazing part of the Sims community. We would not be the
Thank
same
you
without
so
you.
much.
And I'm very
I really
happy.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, I'm very happy our paths crossed and that we will continue to cross. And I'm excited to see
Absolutely.
all the awesome projects you're working on.
Thank you so much.
Where can we find everything, like your social handles?
So my main one for now is Sims Instagram. Until I can build like a good consistency, I want to just keep it to Instagram. But I want to branch out to YouTube and TikTok again at some point. Just showing builds, not showing myself on camera, but just showing builds so people can see how they can incorporate different decor styles and also just placement of certain objects. So that's where I'm heading. But just for now, Sims Instagram.
Perfect. And do you mind just spelling it out for everybody?
Okay, so T the Simmer, TeaTheSimmer.
Fantastic, T. Well, please go check out my girl. Her stuff is amazing. Again, she's a huge sharer on Instagram and will love to share your content and, help get the spread of the word that way. So, T, thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I cannot wait until we talk again soon, which I know it will be soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. It was really unexpected, but I was so thrilled from the moment I heard. And thank you so much for having me, supporting me, reaching out to me every once in a while still. And I also look forward to seeing what you are bringing with the Rose Chronicles, and especially your content on your Starseed Instagram. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited and thrilled that I have the support of the Sims community, especially now. I've received so many DMs, and just even on my main post from Friday, so much support and understanding. And I really wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the amount of understanding and kindness that I've gotten back from the Sims community, especially coming back December now, starting again on my main Sim. So thank you so much, especially from you. You really supported and motivates me over the time.
Oh, now I'm going to start crying. It's been again, thank you. And
Absolutely.
it's like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please go check out T, and I want you to have a great rest of your day. Okay. I know it's almost bedtime for you.
Yeah, well, sort of. I might stay up and play games. It's honestly like I have a burst of energy now. I want to use it before I become frustrated again.
No, of course. Well, anyways, have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too, as well.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks.